So in 2019, we watched the Amazon rainforest burn, and in 2020, we are watching Australia burn. Now, to be fair, the wildfires that are taking place in Australia, they did happen in 2019, but they have gotten worse and worse and worse. And there's a lot of areas that have not been contained yet. And it's just really, really sad to watch. When you look at photographs and videos, it literally looks apocalyptic. You see pictures where the sky ranges from hazy orange to blood red. And if these pictures weren't ominous enough, there's photos and videos emerging of fire tornadoes. And, if you've never heard of that before, it looks exactly as it sounds. This footage here that you're seeing was obtained by the Today Show, and it captures a fire tornado in the Australian outback. And I mean, if you weren't worried about climate change, if you weren't worried about what we're doing to the planet, a video of a fire tornado, I mean, if that doesn't change your opinion, then nothing will. We're living in a situation where Australia looks like hell, and there are literally fire tornadoes. Just try to process that. It's difficult to even imagine a future beyond that if we don't take action at this point when we're seeing this. I mean, what do you say about this? And it's difficult to assess the damage while it's taking place, but early estimates are gut-wrenching. So the Environment Minister of Australia estimates that 30% of the koala population along New South Wales' mid-north coast has been wiped out. 30%. And that area houses between 15 and 28,000 koala bears. So if their environmental minister is correct, that 30% of koalas in that area have died, that means between 4,000 and 8,000 koala bears have been killed because of these wildfires. That is incredibly tragic. Now, on top of that, 18 people have died. More than 1,000 homes have been destroyed. But it is wildlife who's taking the biggest hit. Now, I have some more media for you here. This is a picture that really broke my heart. This is from Walter Peters, and it's of a wallaby licking its burnt paws as it was trying to escape from the fire. I don't know what it is about this photo, but it really, it hit a nerve with me. It struck a chord, if you will, and it's really heartbreaking. And then you have this video from Mitchell Lyons where there are hundreds of kangaroos literally running for their lives as the fires approach them. And then you have this footage in New South Wales of dozens of animals just dead everywhere. Completely dead. You can still see that the sky is hazy. But I mean, this is death and destruction on a scale that's honestly difficult for the human mind to fathom. If you're there, you get a better sense, but just watching on the other side of the world, I see these photos and it's difficult to process because it looks unreal. It doesn't look real. It looks like we're watching an apocalyptic movie. But this is real. This is happening. This is our planet. And it's so upsetting. There's these videos of animals being treated like koala bears because they are, dying of thirst. Quite literally, they're stopping people on bicycles trying to get water. I mean, it's really heartbreaking. And if you're not paying attention to this and outraged, then, as a citizen, I think you're being irresponsible. This is something that we all need to watch. And even though it's hard to see, we need to force ourselves to look at this. Because if we try to turn away, if we try to live in ignorant bliss, then, we're setting ourselves up to failure. We need to grapple with the consequences of the fact that our planet is becoming less hospitable to life, not just human life, but all types of life, largely due to climate change. And, the wildfires, they get reported on a lot. We see wildfires that ravaged, California. The Amazon rainforest was being burned, and now it's happening in Australia. And, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what we can expect, right? Climate change has a plethora of consequences. Coral reefs die out. We see ocean acidification, desertification. I mean, we often think about climate change in terms of rising sea levels, which in and of itself is a huge issue. But we haven't even begun to grasp the scale of what's to come. This is just a small taste of it. And the worst part is that we still aren't doing anything. We're not taking meaningful action to mitigate climate change. And we're now starting to really live with the consequences of it. Now, I want to play a video from you. This is from The Guardian, and they kind of give you some aerial footage of the fires, and it's hard to put it into perspective, but it kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of the scale of just how huge, these fires are and how far and wide they go. Now, for those of you listening on iTunes, the buzzing that you heard was the sound of a helicopter. It was flying over areas of Victoria and just capturing mass destruction. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this. If we don't take action on climate change, then this is just a snapshot of what's to come. A tiny fraction of what we can expect. We're living at a time where Australia looks like hell, literally, and there are fire tornadoes taking place on planet Earth. Fire tornadoes. Now I know why climate grief is a thing. I started to experience this last year, but there's this feeling of hopelessness when you look at this footage. There's this feeling that, as a human being, as one individual, you're helpless. You can't do anything about this. You can do jack shit. Because this is an issue that's so big. The scale of it is so large. There's no way to solve this issue in any meaningful way unless the entire world mobilizes. But we just haven't seen what we needed to see. Now, there was a step in the right direction when the IPCC in 2017 warned us, or maybe it was 2018, warned us that we had 12 years to act. Well, time's ticking. We now have 11 years to act. And scientists, more often than not, are, conservative in their estimates. In fact, when it comes to the estimate of 500 million animals that have been killed, I believe it was the University of Sydney who came up with this estimate. They actually admitted that they're being relatively conservative. The number is probably much higher. So there's nothing else to add. The world is literally on fire, and Australia is seeing fire tornadoes and mass death and destruction. Time's running out. That should be obvious.